Hey there, book lovers. Welcome to Book and Blueprint, where we break down the books that can change your life. Today, we're diving into the classic Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. In just a few minutes, you'll discover the mindset shift between working for money versus making money work for you. Let's unlock those wealth-building secrets together. Hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. What if everything you learned about money was wrong? What if working hard and getting good grades was not the path to wealth? This is the revolutionary question Robert Kiyosaki asked himself when he discovered he had two fathers teaching him completely different philosophies about money. One was highly educated but constantly struggling financially. The other never finished school but became one of the richest men in Hawaii. This is the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki grew up in Hawaii with two influential father figures. His poor dad was his biological father, a highly educated man with a PhD who worked as the head of education for the state of Hawaii. He believed in studying hard, getting good grades, finding a secure job, and working your way up the corporate ladder. His rich dad was his best friend's father, an entrepreneur who dropped out of school at 13 but built a business empire. He believed in financial education, making money work for you, and building assets. Both men worked hard. Both were charismatic and influential. But they had completely opposite views about money. One would die leaving bills to be paid. The other would become one of Hawaii's wealthiest men, leaving tens of millions to his family and charity. The difference? Their financial philosophy. And that's exactly what this book reveals. At 9 years old, Robert and his friend Mike wanted to get rich. They tried melting toothpaste tubes to make counterfeit coins, which didn't work. When Robert asked his poor dad how to make money, he was told to go find a job. But when he asked his rich dad, he got a completely different lesson. Rich Dad hired Robert and Mike to work in one of his convenience stores for just 10 cents an hour, a pathetically low wage even in the 1950s. The boys felt exploited and angry. This was exactly what Rich Dad wanted. When Robert complained about the low pay, Rich Dad taught him his first crucial lesson. Most people accept low pay because fear and greed control their lives. Fear of not having money makes them get up and go to work hoping more money will reduce that fear. But it never does. They get a raise, they spend more. It's a hamster wheel called the rat race. Rich Dad explained that poor and middle-class people work for money, while rich people have money work for them. The poor dad saw a good job as the solution. The rich dad saw opportunity and financial education as the solution. This mindset difference creates entirely different financial realities. Rich Dad then stopped paying the boys entirely. He wanted them to work for free, to ignite their creativity, and see opportunities beyond a paycheck. Soon the boys noticed that the store threw away old comic books. They created a comic book library and charged kids admission, their first real business. They learned to spot opportunities and create assets. Rich Dad believed that financial literacy, understanding how money works, was the foundation of wealth. But what does that actually mean? It starts with understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. And here's where Rich Dad's definition differs from what accountants say. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. It's that simple. Rich people acquire assets. The poor and middle class acquire liabilities but think they're assets. The perfect example? Your house. Most people consider their home their greatest investment, but Rich Dad disagreed. If your house takes money from your pocket every month through mortgage payments, taxes, and maintenance, it's a liability, not an asset. Robert illustrates this with cash flow diagrams, showing how the rich, middle class, and poor manage money differently. The poor spend everything they earn on expenses and liabilities. The middle class buys liabilities, bigger houses, fancier cars, thinking they're assets, which creates more expenses that require them to work harder. The rich build a column of assets that generate income, then buys them luxuries. The key formula? Focus on buying income-generating assets, rental properties, stocks, bonds, businesses, intellectual property, things that put money in your pocket while you sleep. When your assets generate enough income to cover your expenses, you're financially free. Rich Dad's advice sounds harsh but is profound. Keep your day job but mind your own business. What does this mean? Your profession isn't your business. You might be a banker by profession, but if you don't own the bank, banking isn't your business. Your business is your asset column, what you're building on the side that will eventually generate income. Most people spend their entire lives working for someone else. Their employer takes most of their productivity, the government takes a share through taxes, and the bank takes another chunk through mortgages and loans. They work hard but never build anything for themselves. Rich Dad advised building your asset column before buying lux. The poor and middle class buy luxuries first, then have nothing left for investing. The rich buy luxuries last, and they buy them with income generated from their assets, not from their paychecks. Start a business. Buy rental real estate. Purchase stocks. Create intellectual property. Build assets. This is your real business, regardless of where you draw your paycheck. Here's something they don't teach in school. The rich don't play by the same financial rules. They use corporations to protect and multiply their wealth. Historically, taxes were only meant for the rich, but governments expanded them, and now the middle class pays the most. Why? Because employees and self-employed individuals earn, then get taxed, then spend what's left. But corporations and business owners earn, spend, then pay taxes on what's left. This seemingly small difference creates massive wealth advantages. Rich Dad taught Robert that financial IQ includes understanding tax law and corporate law. The rich use legal strategies to minimize taxes and protect assets. They understand that it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. The world is filled with opportunities, but most people never see them. Because financial intelligence creates opportunities. Rich Dad taught that there are two types of investors: those who buy packaged investments like mutual funds, and those who create investments by spotting opportunities others miss. Robert shares stories of buying properties far below market value during economic downturns, then quickly reselling them. He found properties in foreclosure, properties where sellers were desperate, and situations where a little financial knowledge created enormous returns. The point isn't that everyone should flip real estate, it's that financial intelligence lets you see opportunities everywhere. In every economic condition, whether boom or recession, the financially educated find ways to profit, while others complain about circumstances. Poor Dad encouraged specialization. Become expert at one thing, work your way up, demand higher pay. Rich Dad encouraged the opposite. Learn a little about a lot. His business empire, not for money, but for learning. He believed the wealthy are generalists while the poor and middle class are specialists. Robert shares how he joined the Marine Corps to learn leadership, then took a sales job with Xerox, despite hating rejection, because he needed to overcome his fear and learn to sell. These skills became invaluable for his business success. The lesson? Young people should seek work that teaches them skills, not just pays bills. Learn sales, marketing, communication, leadership, accounting, and investing. These skills, combined, create wealth. Specializing in only one profession makes you dependent on that skill, vulnerable if the market changes. Robert identifies 5 obstacles that prevent financially literate people from building wealth. Fear. Everyone fears losing money, but the difference is how you handle it. The rich see failure as educational, the poor see it as permanent. Cynicism. What if the economy crashes? Everything. Cynics never win because they never try. Laziness. Not just physical laziness, but busyness that avoids important things. People stay busy to avoid facing their financial reality. Bad habits. Pay yourself first. Before paying bills, invest in your assets. This creates positive pressure to earn more. Arrogance. Ignorance combined with ego is deadly. When you don't know something about money, admit it and educate yourself. So how do you begin? Rich Dad's advice. Find a reason greater than reality, a compelling why that motivates you. Choose daily what thoughts you feed your mind. Choose friends carefully. Learn from the wealthy, not broke cynics. Master a formula, then learn a new one. Pay yourself first, always. Pay your advisors well for good advice. Be generous, and returns come back multiplied. Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't just about money, it's about freedom. Freedom to choose how you spend your time. Freedom from fear and dependency. The choice Robert faced between two fathers' philosophies is the same choice we all face. Will you work for money your entire life? Or will you make money work for you? Will you teach your children to be financially literate, or send them into the world financially blind? The path is simple, but not easy. It starts with a decision, and that decision starts today. As Rich Dad said, the love of money is the root of all evil. The lack of money is the root of all evil. Choose financial education. Choose freedom. Choose to be rich.